Hello students, in this unit we have studied various other organisms and their adaptations. By far we have reached to the last topic of this unit, that is adaptations of the organisms which lives in deep sea. So let's have a look towards the environmental characters of this deep sea which has to be faced by the organisms which resides over here. So some of the characters or some of the physical characters which can be faced by or which can be challenges by faced by the organisms which lives over here, that are nothing but the sunlight, pressure, temperature, oxygen and food. So let's have a brief ideas of each and every character. So basically when we talk about the deep sea zone, there is no sunlight at all. Okay, so the organisms which are present over here, they do not have any relation to the sunlight, and that is why they cannot produce their own food. So obviously, as no sunlight, no photosynthesis will be there and no plant material will be there. Since they lives in no sunlight region, or as since they live in no complete dark region, there is no vision to such organisms, or we can say very less vision or very less power of vision. The organism must use the another sense to find their own food. Obviously, if they do not have eyes or they do not have sight, how will they find their food or how will they move? So they have some other organs or some sensory functions present in their body to find a food, to find a prey, or to find a mate. Another phenomena which can be seen over here in such organism is the bioluminescence. We are going to study it in detail further. The another character is the pressure. When we go deep into the ocean, we can feel a pressure. So obviously when we talk about the deep sea zone, it comes with the pressure, high pressure. So it is always a compression on organisms. The exact meaning of the pressure is the compression on organism, and it is measured as atmospheric pressure or ATMs. The liquid can withstand compression but air cannot, and that is why the air bladders are not present in such organisms, or the air bladder, if they are present, they are replaced by fats. So air bladder is completely absent because due to the high pressure there are chances that this air bladders can be burst in due to the high pressure, and that is why this creatures doesn't show any it doesn't show presence of air bladder. Next one is the temperature. Since there is no sunlight, so there is no source of any heat in this region, and that is why there is a constant temperature. This is called as the region of constant temperature, that it has a very less temperature, and it even doesn't show any seasonal changes because obviously there is no sunlight, so there is it doesn't get affected, this region doesn't get affected by any seasonal changes. The temperature is about 4 degrees centigrade, and it helps important role in distribution of organisms. Temperature is an important factor due to which it affects the organism, affects the movement of the organisms. So mostly the organisms are sluggish because of the cold and due to the pressure. the oxygen, this zone is called as the oxygen minimal zone. Okay, because here the mixing of oxygen doesn't take place. Okay, the source of oxygen is very less, so in between 500 meter to 1000 meter, it has the least amount of oxygen in entire ocean, and most deep creatures found here. So oxygen is used up quickly through respiration. So due to the less oxygen, it gets consumed quickly by the organisms. So oxygen gets to the deep by currents as well as by the density differences. The organisms over here has the low metabolic rate, so that they can they have very less capacity to consume or use up this oxygen. Next one is food. Obviously, as it is deep inside the ocean, there is no source of food, and since there is no sunlight, there are no biosynthetic or the photosynthetic producers over there, and that is why all the organisms present over here, they feed on the detritus material. They are carnivores, that they depends upon different other creatures for food. So the food which reaches over there by either by sinking or by the water currents, and uh, very less food is available, and because of that the organism is small in size, and very less organisms are present over here due to the scarcity of food. Generally, the sources of food in the deep sea for the deep sea creatures are either their own juveniles. They sometimes they feed on their own juveniles, or they feed on the juveniles of other fish or other organisms present in the deep sea. The dead the another source is the dead organism present, or if any organism gets died on the upper zone of ocean, obviously they start sinking and in the deeper zone. So the dead bodies of organisms from the same zone or from the upper zone, the fecal matter of organisms which lives on upper zone, the exoskeleton of the organisms which get shedded off. So all these are the food sources of deep sea organisms. The let's move to the adaptations of deep sea organisms. There are various challenges which has to be faced by these deep sea organisms, and that is why they show some special characteristic or some special habits that are nothing but the adaptations or the adjustment in their body to get adjusted or to survive in the deep sea zone. The very first adaptation is the color. So the organisms which lives over here, mostly the mesopelagic fishes which present over here, they tend to either be silvery gray, or in color silvery gray in color, or deep black in color, but they do not show the counter shading like the epipelagic fishes. They are thoroughly silvery gray or deep black in color. The mesopelagic fish like jellyfishes, they are mostly deep or dark purple in color, whereas the crustaceans present over here, such the crustaceans like copepods, mycetes, shrimps, they are brilliantly red in color. The red color is because of the red light is first to absorbed in the seawater, and organisms that are red are also appear black in color. So this is somewhat the adaptation to get protection from the predators. Since these organisms lives in water, they are virtually unlighted, and that organisms that are lack will be invisible. The organisms which lives in the deeper water, okay, or in the abyssal or bathyal zone are often colorless, or they are dirty white in color, and they do not show the pigmentation. So these are the adaptations which can be seen or which are related to the color of organism. Next one is the eyes. Now different types of eyes can be seen in this organism. Some of them have large eyes, some of them have tubular eyes, some of them have dissimilar eyes. So it is according to the organism or the size of organism. So the mesopelagic or the upper bathypelagic fishes shows the large eyes, and the fish which lives in the uppermost part of the deep sea, where very little light of can penetrate, and they it vertically migrate in epipelagic zone during the night. So such organisms has a little vision, and they have a larger eyes as compared to the deeper organisms. The eyes in these fishes are much larger as compared to their body size. We can see the large eyes in the organisms which lives on the upper part of the deep sea. The large eyes gives the maximum surface area to the eyes, or maximum light collecting ability in this organism, which has very less light intensity. These fishes also have enhanced twilight vision due to the presence of a pigment which is called as the rhodopsin, and an increase in the density of rods in their retinal region. So generally the fish which lives in 2000 to 1000 up to the 2000 meter, they have light large eyes. Next, the some of them shows the tubular eyes or the cylindrical eyes. Okay, these eyes are short, black, cylindrical, topped with the hemispherical translucent lens. Okay, each eye has two retinas, one on the base and one on the wall of the cylinder like structure. So such eyes, the structure of such eyes function in a way that the main retina at the base of the tube focus on nearby object, and the another retina focuses on the objects which are at distance. So basically these eyes are seen in the fish which lives in a lower ophotic region. Some of the organism shows the dissimilar eyes. Some of the squids basically shows the dissimilar eyes. Okay, so these eyes, one of the eye is larger and one of the eye is smaller. So such squids also have the light producing organs which is called as the photophores. Okay, such squids orient themselves in such a way that large eyes is directed vertically upward and the small eyes oriented downward, and even it responds to the downwelling light by turning on its photophores just enough to match the downwelling light, and it is invisible when reviewed from below. So these are the different types of eyes which are present in the deep sea organism. Next, this there are some adaptations which can be observed in the organisms which are related in feeding purpose, or we can say that hence there is less food present. So the adaptation can be seen for the scarcity of food, to overcome the scarcity of the food. So we can see two different types of adaptations over here, that is either presence of large mouth or the presence of lure. Okay, first we'll talk about the presence of large mouth, because see, they live in such a zone where very much less food is present, and to grasp the maximum food, or to avoid the sliding out of the food. So this fish or these organisms have the larger mouth, so that they can grasp the maximum food they can catch. So the presence of large mouth is an adaptation particularly developed, which is due to the scarcity of food in the deeper water. So most deep sea fishes has large mouth, and large enough to their size than fish of the other areas. Such large mouth allows the fish to swallow the prey larger than themselves, or they can completely swallow the fish. The uh, another adaptation to overcome the scarcity of food is the presence of lure. So such fish, a fish like anglerfish has the modified dorsal fin. We have studied the different types of fins in the previous year. So the dorsal fin is modified to form a lure, like um it forms a long thread like structure. It modifies its dorsal fin as a thread like structure, and on a tip of that fin there is a bulb or a bulb like structure. It is called as a lure. Okay, this structure is called as a lure, and this lure has a capacity to produce a light. So in a dark region, suppose you'll see the light, you'll get attracted to that light. Similarly, the prey or the another organisms gets attracted to the light which is produced in the lure, and the organism or the fish gets it gets its prey, or it is a trap to find the food. So the presence of lure is found in many other organisms or fishes such as stomatoids, where the lure occurs on the chin of the fish. So along with the dorsal fins, even the chin part or the ventral part also shows the presence of lure. See, these are the examples. In these pictures you can see the different feeding adaptation. The prey is rare in the deep sea, so finding food is difficult, and that is why these different fish, or we have taken the example of gulper fish, this gulper eel. This eel is called as a gulper eel because it gulps the whole organism. Okay, and to catch the whole organism which is found over in deep sea, they have the large or wide mouth. You can see the wide mouth. So uh, since as they engulf the fish or engulf the food, there is a cavity, or they can enlarge the size of their stomach. Okay, you can see at right hand side the fish has engulfed the another fish, and the size of stomach has enlarged to occupy the fish, to occupy the prey. This is one more picture of gulper eel, which shows the wide mouth, which also be used as a net to catch smaller or larger prey. The mouth of gulper eel is so large that it can swallow organism which is much bigger than the size of gulper eel. Once it is swallowed, the stomach will stretch, and it will feed the prey into the stomach. Next, this this fish shows the longer teeth or needle like teeth. which is pointing inward, so that the prey will not uh, escape from the once it is caught. So the teeth are so long or so sharp in some cases that this fish sometimes cannot close their mouth ever. Again, this fish shows the stretchy stomach to store the fish, to store the catch they had as a food. Next one is the adaptation, which is related to reproductions. Since they live in the darker region, since there is no food, since there is no light, it is quite hard, it is quite difficult for the organisms to catch their or to find their mate. Since the food is scarce, the density of organism is low, there are much problem in finding the mate. So the adaptations which we can see, that the females are much more larger than the males, and this males acts as a parasite and remain attached to the lower body of a female. So it acts like a parasite, and then male becomes the part of the female for reproduction. And female can have 3 to 4 males attached to her belly at a time. So here we can see the picture of male and female anglerfish. The female anglerfish is much more larger than the male anglerfish. The male anglerfish is small and it acts as a parasite, that it actually attached itself into the female body, or it gets fused to her circulatory system, that it both of them shares their blood, and this supports them both, while male is there solely to fertilize the female's egg. Next one is the biochemical adaptation. uh, the deep sea fishes and crustaceans, as the depth increases, the water contains obviously increases, and the lipid and proteins are decreases, and even the calories are decreases. So if we'll compare the biochemical components of deep sea organisms with the epipelagic region or pelagic region organisms, we can find this difference, that the moisture contents are higher in such fishes as compared to such pelagic and epipelagic fish. This decrease in biochemical constituents are released or related to the scarcity of food which the protein is produced. So since there is less food, so there is no source or little source of proteins. That is why there are less muscles or less protein contains, and the lipid contains, and high moisture content. Next one is related to the pressure. Since as we have studied earlier, that due to the pressure, this organism has to live in the higher pressure zone. They do not have their air bladder, or if they do possess the bladder, this bladder is filled with the fats instead of the gas, because the compression of the pressure may cause the bursting of the air bladder. The bioluminescence is one of the phenomena which can be seen prominently in the deep water organism, deep sea zone organisms. So it is simply production of light by the living organisms. Many deep sea fishes, squids, crustaceans, they can produce the light throughout organ or the cells which are present in the body, they are called as the photophores. These photophores are consist in a series of a glandular cells which produces a light. So these organisms particularly dwell in mesopelagic zone which have photophores on their ventral surface. It can be also used to produce a blinding flash-like light, which uh, such flash is helps. It is used in deep sea organism to protect itself. So usually blue or green light occurs it varies from animal to animal. These cells are nothing but the photophores. It is used for three major reasons, that is either for protection, for getting food, and for mating. Okay, for protection the blinding flash like light is used. For getting food, the lures, we have seen that the dorsal fin is modified into lure, and at the tip of the lure there is a bulb like structure which produces the light. So by presenting or by presence of the lure, the it helps in getting the food to such organisms. And obviously for mating or for attracting the mate, these photophores are used. See, at left hand side we can see some of the squids which are producing the uh, lights. We can see angler fish in the middle which has the lure, and at the tip of the lure we can see a bulb like structure which is producing light. And at the right hand side, they are not the organisms from the deep sea, but even this bioluminescence can be seen by a large number of organisms that even include the planktons. Even some planktons has the capability to produce the light. So even it can be produced by the epipelagic organisms also. Okay, it is used for various purposes. These are some more organisms which produces the light which shows the bioluminescence. So well, we have reached to the end of the lecture, and I hope you have understood it very well, since this topic is very much interesting. Okay, if you have any doubts, you can ask me in online lecture. Thank you.